From the dusty streets of 1987 Hawkins all the way to the terrified landscapes of Dimension X, we need to break down exactly what is happening in every single plane of existence based on the first 4 episodes of the final season. Let's start with the one we know best, which is our dimension, specifically Hawkins, Indiana. By the time we hit November 1987 in Season 5, Hawkins isn't the cute 80s nostalgia town we remember. It's basically a war zone. Remember how Season 4 ended with those massive rifts tearing through the ground? Well, fast forward a few years and the town is under military occupation. They call the containment zone the Max Z, and it is bleak. We have got spores falling from the sky like some kind of toxic snow, which the locals call mysterious dandruff, and everyone has to go in for mandatory medical checkups to make sure they aren't turning into monster incubators. It is pretty dystopian. We even see that the town has adapted in desperate ways, with the gang using the WSQK radio station, affectionately nicknamed the Squawk, as their new headquarters to intercept military comms and track monster movements. The military has covered the giant cracks in the earth with these massive metal band-aids, but we all know that is not going to hold forever. The vibe in Hawkins is intense. You have got the Wheelers trying to maintain some semblance of normalcy, with Ted still golfing in the dark like nothing is wrong, but the tension is off the charts. We also see that the group has split duties. You have Nancy and Jonathan and Steve running recon with the radio tower to track signals, and then you have Lucas and Mike trying to keep things together, while Dustin is struggling big time with Eddie's death and getting into brutal fights with high school bullies who think Hellfire is a joke. The reality of our dimension in Season 5 is that it is no longer safe. The Upside Down is bleeding into it physically and psychologically. We see this clearly with Holly Wheeler. She is the new target. It starts with her seeing a friend who isn't there, and before you know it, the barrier between Hawkins and the other side is shattered right in her bedroom ceiling. The group even has to resort to extreme measures, literally kidnapping a kid named Derek Turnbow and drugging his family just to set a trap for a Demogorgon. It is terrifying because it proves that the safe zones are gone. Our dimension is essentially being terraformed, or at least prepared for a total takeover. Now, we have to talk about the Upside Down because in Season 5 it is evolving. We used to think of it as just a dark echo of Hawkins frozen in '83, and that is still true to an extent, but the geography is getting way more specific. In the new season, we learn about the Crawl. This is Hopper's terrifying routine of going into the Upside Down to do recon by hitching rides in the back of military supply trucks that drive right through the gates. But here is the massive reveal from the Season 5 intel. There is a wall. A physical, fleshy, organic wall that creates a perfect circle around the center of the Upside Down. Dustin, being the genius he is, figures out that the geometry of this wall points to a specific epicenter, which is the Hawkins National Lab. This implies that the Upside Down has a structured defense mechanism protecting the heart of the hive mind. We find out that the military isn't just visiting. They have set up a full-blown base inside the Upside Down, complete with sonic dampeners, essentially kryptonite for 11, to stop her from spying on them. We also see that the military is trying to operate inside the Upside Down, running convoys and burns to clear paths, but they are getting absolutely wrecked by the flora and fauna. The atmosphere is still toxic, filled with those spores, but it seems like the creatures are more organized now. We have Demogorgons acting with specific intent, not just hunting for food, but capturing targets. When Holly gets taken, she is dragged through this new wall. This suggests the Upside Down has layers we haven't seen before, almost like a fortress. It's also hiding massive secrets, like when Hopper and Elle break into the Upside Down version of the lab expecting to find Vecna in a vault, but instead they find 8, aka Kali, hooked up to machines. And we have to talk about the right side up people invading it. We have Steve Harrington literally driving a BMW through a rift and drifting around the Upside Down. Steve calls this his peanut butter bopper theory, believing that if he drives fast enough into a gate at a grain silo, he can crunch through the hard shell to the soft center without dying, which actually works. It is chaotic. The rules of physics still apply enough for a car to work, but the environment is hostile to everything human. It is also worth noting that the connection between the Upside Down and our world is getting stronger through people like Will. Will is feeling the connection more intensely than ever, realizing he can see through the eyes of the creatures there. It's like the Upside Down is reaching out and touching the minds of people in Hawkins, making the physical barrier less relevant than the psychic one. Before we dive into the other dimensions, if you are enjoying this breakdown, do me a huge favor and smash that like button. It's safer than fighting a Demogorgon with a golf club like Ted Wheeler. This brings us to the third and arguably most confusing dimension, which is Dimension X. Now, you might be thinking, isn't that just the Upside Down? No, and the distinction is super important for understanding Henry Creel's backstory. Dimension X is the realm unspoiled by mankind. This is where Henry was sent when Eleven banished him in 1979. It is not an echo of Hawkins. It is an alien landscape with floating rocks, a scorched sky, and strange gravity. This is the native home of the Mind Flayer particles and the Demogorgons before they took the shape we recognize. In Season 5, we know from the lore that Henry found the swirling particles here and shaped them into the spider-like Mind Flayer we know. It is the raw material dimension. While the Upside Down is a copy of our world, Dimension X is something entirely different, something ancient. We get a terrifying glimpse of what this place is used for when Will has a vision of 12 organic spires, likely located deep within this realm or behind the organic wall, where captured children are hooked up to the hive mind to power Vecna's escalation. Will explains to the group in the barn that he saw Holly attached to one of these spires, becoming part of it, and he sensed that there are supposed to be 12 victims in total to complete whatever circuit Vecna is building. The military seems to be aware of this distinction too, or at least they are probing the boundaries of these realms. We know from the lore that the USS Eldridge in 1943 went here, not to the Upside Down. It's the deep, deep history of the show. In Season 5, when we see the wall in the Upside Down, there is a theory that what lies behind it might be a pocket of Dimension X, or the bridge between the two. It represents the chaotic power of the hive mind before it was imposed onto the template of Hawkins. It is where Henry felt like an explorer, a dark god discovering his tools. If the Upside Down is the invasion force, Dimension X is the armory where the weapons were forged. Then we have the hellscape. It's that intermediate zone, the red lightning storm that Henry fell through after Eleven blasted him out of the Rainbow Room. It's not really a place you live, it's a place you survive or don't. It consists of those twin planes of reality tearing apart. Henry was flayed alive by the lightning here, which is what gave him his monstrous, vine-covered appearance before he landed in Dimension X. It acts as a sort of violent membrane between our world and the others. While we might not spend a ton of time hanging out here in Season 5, it is crucial to remember it, because it represents the chaotic energy required to cross over without a stable gate. It is the grinder that turns humans into monsters. It serves as the physical cost of interdimensional travel when you don't have a nice, neat portal, like the one at the lab or the Watergate. Now, we need to get into the mind layer or the mindscape, because this is a massive part of Season 5. This isn't a physical place in the same way the Upside Down is. It is a psychic construct, but it is real enough to kill you. In Season 4, we saw it as the Red Smoke Room with the fragments of the Creel House. But in Season 5, it has evolved. Max is our guide here. She is physically in a coma in Hawkins, but her consciousness is trapped in this mindscape. She describes it to Holly as a prison world, comparing it to Camazotz from A Wrinkle in Time. It is a world controlled by a singular evil brain, Henry. Max has actually managed to carve out a hidden sanctuary for herself in a red rock cave filled with her drawings and memories, proving she can manipulate the space just like Henry can. She explains that the environment is hostile, a red rock canyon landscape that feels infinite, but her cave is filled with familiar items like her Walkman and skateboard, essentially hacking the code of the mindscape to create a safe room. But here's the twist. Inside this terrifying red nightmare, Henry can create pockets of safety to groom his victims. We see a pristine, beautiful version of the Creel house where human form Henry, looking dapper and kind in a vest and tie, hangs out with Holly. He feeds her blueberry pancakes and convinces her that he is protecting her from the monsters outside, even giving her gifts like a Tiffany cassette tape to earn her trust. This is all part of the mindscape's illusion. It is a trap designed to make the victim compliant. Max has figured out the rules, though. She explains that there are 3 doors in this place. Accept your fate, end it, or escape. She is trying to find the escape. She reveals to Holly that she already tried door 3 by following the music of Kate Bush, which acted as a lifeline, but she realized she was just moving deeper into Henry's maze of memories where she witnessed the moment Henry cursed her, realizing she was trapped in a loop. The mindscape is basically Henry's hard drive. It holds his memories, his consciousness, and the souls of the victims he has consumed. The fact that Max has carved out a sanctuary, a replica of a safe memory inside Henry's own mind, is incredible. It shows that the mindscape is malleable if you have a strong enough will. This dimension is where the psychological war happens. It's where Henry tries to convince Holly that her parents are dead and that he is the only one who can save her. It's gaslighting weaponized into a reality. To wrap up the state of the dimensions in Season 5, the boundaries are gone. Now it's about one dimension overriding the other. The worlds are colliding, and it is going to be an absolute mess to fix. If you want to see more Stranger Things content and deep dives, click the video on screen now.